I can't stop thinking about something that Elon Musk said to former UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
We won't have universal basic income, we'll have universal high income.
And they were talking about how AI is going to affect the future of civilization. So, just a casual coffee conversation. But the idea of a universal basic income is something that gets a lot of people riled up. So I would have expected someone like Elon Musk to take a hardline stance saying nobody should ever get paid for doing nothing. I mean, that wouldn't even be a controversial statement. Nobody would bat an eyelid if he said something like that. But as far back as 2017, Musk was already telling the World Government Summit that technological advancements would make it necessary for states to provide a universal basic income in order to ease social inequality. And now he's upgraded that to say that not only will we have universal basic income,
and we'll have universal high income.
Side note, I would love to know what Elon Musk actually thinks a high income looks like. A few mil, perhaps? I mean, that wouldn't even cover his child support. Anyway, clearly Elon Musk is no Nostradamus. Just because he said it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But it made me think a lot about the gap between where we are now, where we're headed in the short term, and how far away we might be from the kind of radical shifts that would lead to
universal high income.
You're watching Out of Office, the bi-weekly web show where we cover the most interesting topics that affect remote workers around the world. Now, if you watch regularly, you'll know that I like to mix it up by inviting guest experts to share their insights and even traveling to meet ordinary remote workers in person, wherever they are in the world. But it all started right here with me ranting on my own about stuff nobody else was talking about, just like this, with maybe an occasional meme or costume shtick thrown in. I never expected this to become the world's most watched remote work web show, but it did, and that's because of people like you. So, thank you. Today, I got a good one for you. We're talking about what the future of work could look like in the super long term, and unpacking why allegedly brainy people like Elon Musk are making massive predictions about things like universal high income for doing nothing. Let's start though by looking at where we are right now. My favorite economist, Nick Bloom, who you met back in episode 57, just published new research for IMF showing that remote work is responsible for a surge in economic growth. Using a framework created by Nobel laureate Robert Solow. Solow? I don't know. Anyway, it was in the 50s. Nick Bloom used that framework to find that remote work is impacting all three of the areas that contribute to economic growth. He found so much that he's gone from calling himself a dismal scientist to an optimistic dismal scientist. Bloom found that the labor supply has increased in part because working from home has enabled millions of adults with disabilities to join the workforce. Just look at that line going up, it's unreal. He even found evidence that it's increasing birth rates as parents are more able to balance work and childcare, but hopefully not at the same time. Now, Brayden, Daddy's working. On the capital front, usable land supply has increased as people can consider living further away from urban centers without spending their entire life stuck in traffic. And even that has improved as rush hour traffic is moving faster than it has for decades, which in turn has reduced pollution, which in turn has increased health, which means you probably definitely can justify having a little bit of ice cream later. It'll be fine, just treat yourself. When it comes to productivity, remote work is offsetting a pre-pandemic slowdown. So while individual workers have about the same level of productivity whether they work from home or the office, on a macro level, Bloom found companies are getting a productivity boost from being able to consider a much larger pool of candidates, and it's even led to a boom in new patent applications. And just to top it all off, Bloom said in his lifetime as an economist, he has never seen a change this broadly beneficial. Whew. All right, so that's where we are right now. Pretty good, right? But how about a few years from now? One of the hottest topics right now is how much the rise of AI is going to impact working hours. A lot of commentators are starting to talk about the possibility of a 4-day work week. I mean, wouldn't that be nice? It makes sense though. The 40-hour week that we have now was popularized by Henry Ford, and that was way before half of the technology that we already have today that makes us more efficient than people were back then. So as we approach a new era of efficiency, it makes sense that people are starting to wonder if maybe just a teeny tiny little bit of all of that time saved should actually somehow make its way back to the worker, instead of just becoming another line item in the company's annual report when they talk about their record profits. But that third article actually had a longer headline. This is the rest of it. Now, when I read that, it sounded really familiar. It actually reminded me of another famous economist predicting what life was going to look like just 6 years from now. John Maynard Keynes predicted that by 2030, the average working week would only be 15 hours long. And if you're wondering how he could be so evidently colossally wrong, he actually made that prediction way back in 1930. And he also said that the biggest problem that we're all going to have now in his future is what to do with all that extra free time that we have. I guess he couldn't dream up TikTok. People really latched on to those predictions anyway when he made them back in 1930, and it even inspired my favorite cartoon, the Jetsons. But 94 years later, we're pretty close to the Jetsons era, and it's pretty clear that most of what he predicted hasn't come true, but some of it did. GDP and consumption per person have more than quadrupled, so there was a massive increase in productivity. The part that didn't come true is the part where that would lead to a decrease in working hours and better work-life balance for everybody. So a lot of people are speculating why that prediction didn't come true. And AOC even talked about it on Instagram.
In fact, the 2019 Nobel Prize in Economics, or the equivalent of it, went to economists that concluded that for certain advanced economies, growth in GDP doesn't necessarily correlate in growth of living. We really need to focus on who's actually enjoying the fruits of that productivity.
And that brings us all the way back to Elon Musk, advocating for a universal basic income for all. Now, when even the world's richest person thinks social inequality is such a massive problem that governments should step in to solve it, that's pretty revealing. I don't personally know if universal basic income is the answer. Sorry, I mean
Universal high income.
Thanks, Elon. I believe that in life, having the right questions is more important than having the right answers. So the right question is not, is Elon Musk correct? Or why did that guy 100 years ago get it so wrong? Or when did that alien appear in the window behind me? The right question is, what can we all learn from this? What does society need to do differently in order for the next 100 years to actually bring an increase in quality of life for everyone? And not just repeat the same runaway increase in income inequality that the entire world saw last time. Because if we do this right, it can be good for everyone. So let's debate the answer, right here, right now, in the comments. What do you think needs to happen in order to ensure that the next century of technological progress benefits everyone's work-life balance more than the last century did? Would you go as far as Elon to say that governments should get involved and make sure everyone gets a universal income somehow? I don't even know where they would get the money from. Maybe they would have to apply an income tax to digital workers and not just human ones. Or maybe you think that it should be left to the free market. I mean, we're already seeing companies use things like extra annual leave and flexible working policies to attract better talent. Maybe they will just end up doing the same kind of thing with the expectations of working hours as well. Or maybe you think that people should just stop caring about working hours at all and just leave each other alone and measure outputs. Whatever your point of view, I look forward to hearing it. And I suspect this debate is only going to grow in the years to come, so now's a good time to figure out where you stand on the issue. I'm Andrew Allen, and the future of work is out of office.